The reason I call it fake money is the more the Fed prints money, the rich get.
Right.
We have asset inflation. Right? We have asset inflation in the stock market, bond market, real estate market. I mean, it's feeding the rich. So UBI, MMT, quantity making the rich rich. Unfortunately, the middle class will pay higher taxes because the rich don't pay tax. But what it does, when you have universal basic income and MMT, the poor get poorer. So they can't, so if you're a poor person, you can't afford a house now because the real estate prices are so high, and if you have universal basic income, I don't think a bank will touch you, if you want to buy real estate. There's capital gains and there's cash flow. And you got to know what you're going for. So in real estate or in stocks or in bonds, people most of the time are going for capital gains. So when a person flips a house, they're going to buy it for 100, goes to 200, they're going to net 100. But the trouble with capital gains is you pay tax on it. But the other part, there's always a boom and a bust. And I'm predicting the biggest bust in world history is coming. So it's going to be the biggest opportunity of all times. Kim and I made our fortune in 2008 because, we had apartment houses and our tenants were leaving to buy their houses they couldn't afford. I mean, there was a thing called a ninja loan. No income, no job. But if you could fog a mirror, you can buy this $400,000 house. And so there's booms, busts, capital gains, cash flow. And there's a thing called, there's always the opposite. I was at the gym just now, and before everybody came out, I said, I felt for this guy. I said, I've been a bus driver for 40 years. I'm going to retire, and I can't wait. He's turned 65. I said, what do you got? He said, I got a 401k. I said, what's it filled with? Oh, I just sold all my stocks at the top of the market, and I went into bonds.
Right.
George, what did he just do?
The most stupid thing he could possibly have done. First of all, you should never put all your eggs in one basket, but especially not the bond market right now with all the money printing that you referred to earlier. Robert, before you said you think the market is going to crash. So whether that's the stock market, real estate market, the question is, does it crash nominal terms or adjusted for inflation? See, the stock market can stay the same as it is right now, but if we get 10% inflation because of all the money printing, you'll actually lose purchasing power, you see? So the market can crash up just as easy as it can crash down if your definition of a crash is losing purchasing power. So if you're someone that believes, like I do, that once the Fed starts printing all this money, the government prints all this money with stimulus and whatnot, they cannot stop. It's like a heroin addict. The only thing they can do is print more and more and more. And if they can't reverse course, then you need to start thinking through your portfolio in terms of hard assets, something tangible.
Well, I'm an entrepreneur, but if the crash wipes out your business, you have no cash. And what happened when a COVID hit for Kim and myself, cash flow went up, because the market was demanding more financial education. It's always going up and down, in and out. And that's what investing is. You have the capital gains, cash flow, boom, bust, liquidity, all this stuff. And that's what financial education is. It's not this poor guy who says, I have a 401k and I was told to sell all my stocks and get into the bond market. Now, George, would you explain why you said that is the most stupid thing?
Because you're getting a future stream of dollars. That's all a bond is. You're buying a bond for $1,000 and they're saying, okay, in 10 years, we're going to give you $1,000 back. And along the way, we'll pay you a little bit of interest. I mean, it's negligible at best. So what happens if we have a high rate of inflation because of the money printing? You're going to get paid that $1,000 back, but it's going to buy you a loaf of bread. So you don't get back your purchasing power. You only get back your dollars.
See, when I look at this stuff, I'm looking at the relationship between equities or stocks and bonds. And so the reason the stock market went up is they kept dropping the interest rates on the bonds. So, when I started off, interest rates were about 16%. So if I had a bond, I was getting 16% interest. That was a very valuable bond. If they dropped the interest rate to 14%, my 16% bond more valuable. Does that make sense? That's like my cash flow from the bond or the dividend was good. And so when the market kept crashing, they dropped it to 8. And today, I think it's about 2.5 on the long bond. So as to keep the stock market up, they had to keep dropping the bond prices down. And now we're at zero. They call it the zero bound. And that's where Japan is.
Yeah, for a long time.
They can't keep dropping that bond price. The stock market comes down. So that's the correlation between equities, stocks, and bonds. So this is my question, George. So let's say today bonds are 2%, long bond, 10 year. What happens if it goes to 5%? Because inflation comes in, they have to raise the bond rate to 5%. What happens to the 2-year bond?
The value of the bonds purchased at 2% goes down.
And that's what
That's right. He's buying a bunch of stuff with a value. You really can't get any capital gain on it. The most likely you're going to be stuck holding that thing till it matures, and that's not going to be good in inflation. Another thing, Robert, those bonds pay you a set amount of interest. One of the great things about real estate, and one of the great things about being an entrepreneur, going back to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is you put yourself in the position of being a price maker, where other people are price takers. The majority of people are price takers, so they have to take whatever price is offered by whatever it is they want to buy. But the real estate owner, the apartment owner, let's say, or the business owner can raise their prices if the rate of inflation is going up. So it hedges you against inflation while at the same time paying you to own it with that positive cash flow. And a bondholder does not have that opportunity, to say the least.
Bonds and stocks, real estate. So it's like that guy buying a bond at 2. Nobody wants it. So if you buy a piece of real estate, let's say in Dallas, Texas, and suddenly the prices drop, it's hard to get out of that debt on that real because it's not liquid.
Yeah.
So the good thing about the bond, he can dump it and take his loss now. But real estate is illiquid.
Yeah.
And that's why we highly suggest Rich Dad's World, investing in your financial education, because it's not an answer to the process. And my concern is, and I'm not saying don't buy. Like I was just in Texas. It's a mania. In the last year, land prices have gone up 200 because everybody's running out of California and New York, wherever they're running. And everybody wants to get out of the cities. So they want a piece of the country. So land prices spiked. Is that good? If there's a crash and whatever happened, and they have $1 million piece.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3,000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.